another monster card. Top 15 welterweights, Ian Gary and Michael Venom Page kicking off the main card. Top 10 women's bantamweights, Mayra Buena Silva and Macy Chiasson up next. Anthony Smith, the late replacement for Jamal Hill, facing Roman Dolidze, who steps in for Carlos Olberg. T-City Brian Ortega is back to face Brazilian Diego Lopes in the co-main. And, of course, the new main event, the light heavyweight title fight. It's Alex Pereira and Jiri Prochazka. This, of course, is a rematch where Pereira beat Jiri last year to win the vacant title. Both guys coming off KO wins at UFC 300. You're looking very calm and cool with your air conditioning here, buddy.
I got my Saudi Arabian air conditioner right there. I said, maybe I should say something. We could just have a fan sitting on the desk. It's nice, though. I got a little breeze coming.
You might need this in Las Vegas next week for that big fight, too. Pereira and Prochazka, the rematch.
I don't know if I'll need it for the heat in Vegas or the heat that's going to be taking place inside the octagon. Because when these two dudes get locked in there, it is absolute fireworks. I remember sitting next to the octagon when they fought in New York City, and Jiri Prochazka was having success. And then Alex Pereira seemed to figure him out. The outside leg kicks. I want to know whether or not Prochazka has made the adjustments that will allow him to defend that weapon a little better. Because if he can't, Pereira will then limit him in terms of his movement and knock him out again. This fight is going to be bananas. And you have the rightful #1 contender in Jiri Prochazka getting to face the champion Alex Pereira. But how about Alex Pereira? This guy steps up, man. He is one of the biggest stars in the UFC, and he is a guy that is rightfully headlining one of the biggest fight weeks on the UFC's calendar.
And let's not forget, after UFC 300, he actually wanted to fight at 301 in Brazil a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, that's just crazy. But you have to understand, when we look back at the fight against Alexander Rakic for Jiri Prochazka at UFC 300, it didn't look like he addressed the issue with the calf kicks. He ate a lot of calf kicks from Alexander Rakic, and I don't know if there's enough time between now and UFC 303 for him to correct that mistake. But for Alex on the other side, remember, he went into that into his fight with Jamal Hill with a broken toe, broke another toe in that fight, so he's been on the mend. So is the calf kick even going to play a role in this fight? That remains to be seen.
Prochazka just decided against Rakic that tonight it's not happening. And even though he was beat up from the leg kicks, he just went and attacked him. You cannot do that against Alex Pereira. You got to be more cautious. I'm excited about this fight.
He fought with a broken toe against Jamal Hill, looked pretty good.
Pereira looked good. I'm talking about Jiri.
Yeah.
When Jiri fought Rakic, he just said, I'm not getting beat by you. And he just kind of walked him down and knocked him out. You cannot do that against Alex. You'll get knocked out.
Brian Ortega, Diego Lopes. Ortega coming off that phenomenal comeback win against Yair Rodriguez. And then you have Lopes, who's rolling, having won 3 straight, all first-round finishes, Michael.
You know, Brian Ortega is the type of guy where he's had multiple career resurgences. He comes back when he fought Korean Zombie on Fight Island, looked reinvented, comes in against Yair Rodriguez, reinvented once again. He can only do that so many times, but he looks so good. And you got Diego Lopes, who's got a lot of similarities to the style of Brian Ortega, but he's much more of a fast starter. And for a guy in Diego Lopes, who's a longer, rangier fighter, he can generate so much power in a close space. We saw that against Sadiq Yusuff at UFC 300. He was able to dirty box him and land power shots that floored Sadiq Yusuff from this close. So for him to do that, that's just so impressive. And that's going to be a big role in this fight, is who's going to control the range, who's going to control the close distance, and will either of these guys try to initiate the grappling, because these are the two of the best grapplers at 145 pounds.
Well, first off, don't ever get in my face like that again. I am not Tony Ferguson. I am not Tony Ferguson. Don't get in my face like that. But when talking about the co-main event of UFC 303, Brian Ortega went to Mexico, and he was in that fight with the expectation that Yair Rodriguez was going to light that crowd on fire. He said, no way. The first fight, the injury happened. We didn't get to really see these guys fight. He gets the win. Now he finds himself back in the top 3. But when you think about Diego Lopes, this young man was waiting for an opportunity, a chance to fight at the top of the division. They tell us, honestly, there's this expectation that when Lopes fights, it's going to be something explosive. A lot of times when we put that on kids, they can't live up to it. There's no way. But time and time again, Lopes is doing it. And every time out, he looks better doing it. This fight's going to be really good, and it will show us whether or not Lopes is ready for the elite in the division. I love how mixed martial arts is changing today. We're getting it tomorrow night. We get to see whether or not Alex Pereira is ready for the top of the division. And we will also see that when Diego Lopes gets his opportunity.